Hey everyone, we are back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week we continue our celebration of Women's History Month with an interview with Nancy Burns from Marching Health. We will also find out what made Cynthia say.
And at the end of the show, she's like, I done it. And she had groups with pictures, because she doesn't write, right? With pictures and numbers. She was like, I judge, I know who's first. And we're like, okay, cool.
And why Nicole said,
in a good way, my mind is being blown on the way of thinking, man, what is this judge going to say about this group?
All this and more, so get out on the field and we will see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in.
It's time for a water break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. My name is Steve McCarrick, and this week we have another action-packed episode. We continue our celebration of Women's History Month with a woman who is taking on Marching Health in a new way, and an interview with Jackie and Trevor that they did with Nancy Burns from Marching Health. We'll also be getting a little DCI update from Drum Corps today in just a little bit, but let's see who we've got on the sidelines this week. Nicole.
Hey, man, what's up?
Doing great. How excited are you about Ricardo? I hear we've got some new hosts.
You know, Ricardo and I served together on so many different things, like our marching counts, the cookout,
Nice.
The academy, and now this. Like, we're just family now.
Yeah, so this is a long time coming, actually. And then also Adriana Hafford confirmed as a new guest, I hear, right? New host.
Yes, she is.
Excellent. So that's cool. Got some more hosts coming around, and I'm happy that you are here, Nicole.
Thank you.
Also, Cynthia, welcome back
Happy
to the
New
show.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Minute.
It's been a happy New Year for sure. Indeed. I hear you just recorded a new episode of Lost in Translation too, right?
Yeah, I have a new episode with Lexi, which is by now a known one. It's the second interview with her. We did show season as the word. So she just talks to us about how she deals with show season, what it means, how to treat your body, how to approach championships. So I think for anyone who's going to be performing in the next few weeks and months, it's very valuable, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Very timely then. And we'll be talking about kind of competition again in a little bit. So I'm sure we'll be getting back to that. But Jeremy from Drum Corps Today is back.
Hey, everyone. It's so great to be back again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're happy to have you here, getting closer and closer to Drum Corps season. And you're keeping us informed about Drum Corps over there on social media. How's that been going?
So, this season, it's going to be interesting. We've got 4 different classes, which means a dozen more corps than we had last season coming to Indianapolis this year. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I think about it a lot, like way more than I'm actually comfortable with how much I think about it. My brain is just like obsessing with like all age and what it means for the activity lately.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited that they've added the all-age class to be a part of DCI. I feel like it's just going to put such a big spotlight on them and give so much more people the opportunity to see them. Because I'm going to be honest, I feel like a lot of people once Indy's done, the season's over, but they keep going till September or so. And this year we're going to have a bigger opportunity to be able to recognize what they're doing on the field.
So who's excited for what groups this summer? What are you guys looking forward to with DCI coming up?
I'll just go. I'm biased.
Yeah, what could you be excited about? I'm not sure.
No, honestly, I'm not trying to be like auspicious, whatever, but everyone's going to be working hard. However, I'm really excited for everyone to see Academy.
Absolutely. I think that it's so, I'm actually so excited to hear from you as you go along through the process and get like the inside scoop on what it's like to be like really teaching at the high level. Like you're really doing the thing.
Yeah. I used to be with Colts and I decided to be on the other side. And honestly, I wasn't really thinking about going back to the other side of the field, I guess you could say. But yeah, I'm excited to see a lot of stuff. And I think it actually comes down to the whole thing of like, I've been digging and like doing something I've never done before, which, well, not say never done before, but in the last 3 years haven't done, is watching videos of guards before I see them live.
Oh yeah, so you're mentally deep in it now.
So I have so much to say. So much to say.
I know. I feel like I'm getting that way with winter. We're thinking about summer right now, but I'm so deep in the winter season. Like that's just all that my brain is at least Saturday and Sunday every weekend. Trish, we have Trish here with us now, a little bit late to rehearsal. I'm back. Here. Glad that we have you here. Do you have Starbucks for the group?
No. And I wish I had Starbucks for myself. I wish I had it for myself. But no, sorry.
An excuse for being late? Okay. Fine. Happy you're here, though. You were at the Philly WGI Color Guard Regional, weren't you?
I was, and I had the pleasure of sitting with our own Jeremy Williams, not only prelims, but finals as well. So
I got that great time of you all.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Now, I feel like Jeremy, he would be a little picky. Is he watching? Is he a big critic as he's watching the shows, or is he a big supporter?
He just joined that club, right? I was on that, I was in that club as well. So worked out great.
Always watch.
Or that.
Absolutely. I know it. That's great, though. I wish they had a Philly percussion regional. I'd be right up in there, but I have to go all the way up to Connecticut or all the way out to like Powhatan, Virginia. It's ridiculous.
Oh, gosh.
You excited about anything coming up this summer?
Me personally? I believe that I, as of right now, have a summer off, I believe. The last couple of summers I worked with the Skyliner Alumni Color Guard, but right now they're don't really have the membership to have one. So if that kicks off and, the spring comes and more people jump in there, then cool, I'll be right there. But if not, it's a summer off and start marching band a little early. That's all. So.
Right. Sometimes it's nice to get the little break. Like I'm always trying to do so much band all the time, but then you get like a weekend or two and you're like, whoa.
Absolutely.
What have I been missing out on?
It's real.
Jeremy, I'm sure you've been doing a lot of thinking about this upcoming drum corps summer. So what are some stuff you're excited about?
There's a lot of things I'm excited to take a look at this year between the intense competition we had right at that finals line. I mean, at the end of last season, we thought Pacific Crest might be hopping into finals, and it was intense up to that very last moment. But this year between Pacific Crest and Academy, there are so many good corps just right below that line that are just itching to get into finals. And between that, seeing if Spartans can hold up another year. Last year, they came in first in open class at Marion. And we need to see that. I want to see this year if they'll be able to keep that up, that they're going to be able to keep that gold medal again, or if they're going to have some more competition. I mean, gold was pretty solid last year when they were competing up against them. And I think BDB is coming back from California, making their way to Indy this summer. So it'll be interesting to see how that competition is. Plus, obviously, like we've said before, all age joining the DCI grouping, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have an entire, we already had a whole weekend of events. Now that Saturday morning, we've got another chunk of events to go to and watch. It's going to be a great summer.
I'm really excited about it because right now we're all looking at it like we'll get DCA at DCI and that much is already cool and true. But I think that now that you have a way more open rule set on Saturday in the morning at Lucas Oil Stadium, that really changes kind of what the activity can be. I imagine that over a couple of years, we'll start to see all sorts of radically different groups emerge that maybe do way less practicing or way different practicing than we're accustomed to seeing. I think it's going to shake things up in really interesting ways. So I've been like really excited, kind of looking forward to all age coming and being a thing next summer.
Both from like a competitive standpoint, like you're saying, but also from a logistical standpoint. I mean, Saturday has always been a nightmare. We've been locked out of the stadium until like right before the chorus perform. I remember a couple of years ago, there were people still standing in line when chorus were stepping off performing, and people weren't even able to see their own kids performing just from logistics being an issue. Hopefully with the morning being open, they'll be a lot more open with DCI using the stadium being more cooperative, I guess, and we won't have issues like that moving forward.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's something that I guess you don't really realize, just being a performer there. Because like I'm not too close to Indy. I've never been back as a spectator. I didn't realize it's got to be kind of chaotic out there, especially since the lots are so far from the stadium too. Like if people want to see groups warm up, you have to take a bus. You warm up and you get back on the bus. All right, let's get into our gush and goes
Good job,
here.
everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
Cynthia, what do you want to gush and go on about this week?
Well, I've been gone for so long, for a full year, new year. I think I'm going to talk about my international part of the world. I'm so happy to see Quebecer groups back on the field. There's Sonor. I don't know if you guys saw, but in Salem Regional, we had 2 Sonors in the same category because we just want those kids to perform. So it's a regional A that was in an A class, so in Pennsylvania. And it happens the same thing. It's going to be happening in Bethlehem, where there's going to be 2 Eclipse group in A class and 2 Sonora group in Eclipse class and 2 Third Legend, 1 in A and 1 in open class. So it's just very, very fun for us to see our group shown there. And you'll see me running around the stadium because I kind of help everyone and I'm happy to do so. And for moms out there who think that when they have a child, they need to stop teaching or being a director, it's not everyone, but my daughter is with us all the time. She's 6. You're going to see her. There's a mini me. She's 6. She's bossing around. And I'm just starting also to do yes, you're going to, yes,
I can't believe she's 6.
People are like, is your daughter here? And they expect me to come out with like my 5-week-old kid. And no, she's 6. And I'm training to be a judge right now. I'm doing my judge's trial. And she wasn't understanding. Thank you. And she was not understanding in Salem. She was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, well, I have like a mentor. She's teaching me how to be a judge. And at the end of the show, she's like, I done it. And she had groups with pictures, because she doesn't write, right? With pictures and numbers. She was like, I judge. I know who's first. I'm like, okay, cool. You got it. Like she knows her stuff. So yeah. So yeah, that's cool.
That is pretty cool. She would probably make an incredible judge if she just sticks at that for another,
She already is. She
starts at an early age.
I don't want how can I say that? I don't want to give her a reputation yet. But she's been in a gym since she's 3 weeks old. And this year Sonor's cadet, who you won't see, but asked her just to she's sleeping in a bed. That's her job. Oh. And she went to rehearsal with my boyfriend to see how it was and was kind of not into it, but it was like, you just need to lay in a bed. That's it. She came back in the A class gym, got on the tarp, which she knows she's not allowed to walk on a tarp while rehearsal, got on a tarp, got a 6-foot pole, did a drop spin, put it down. She was like, here, that's easy. And I was like, okay, what? And yeah, cadet is not good enough for her. This year she decided she wants to be with the Third Legend Open. And if you have a chance to look at Third Legend Open, like, no, you're not there, kid. So we'll see. She can be, we'll see what she is.
That's great.
That's
hey, it's good to dream big, though.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, I look forward to seeing and hearing your daughter's gush and go. She'll probably have a lot to talk about in about 3 years. So. Yep. All right. For now, though, Trish, what do you want to gush and go on about?
Well, you mentioned it earlier. The WGI Philadelphia Regional was a blast. I mean, there were just so many amazing performances. I know we were joking before about, being judgy, but Jeremy's 1,000% right. We had such a good time. Like we were out there supporting everybody. There was so many great performances. I had a couple of standouts myself. I love Arlington High School this year. And I know everybody near me was sick of hearing about it, but I just love them. I hope that this is the year for them in WGI Scholastic A, because that show is just so beautiful and so the detail, and it's gorgeous. But I had a couple other favorites too. I thought everybody in World's class was really great, really unique, really different, and kind of pushing the envelope as to what they've been in the past. Mainline Independent, another standout show. But for me, my personal favorite is the Lizzie Borden show that Arlington High School is putting on this year. It's just, if you get a chance to see it, it's spectacular.
Did Arlington do The Waiting Room last year?
Did they do what? I'm sorry.
Was the name of their show? Do you remember their show last year?
Yeah, it was a Vietnam show.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think there's a few different Arlingtons. This is Arlington, New York.
Yeah. Because I thought I had seen them, but I probably haven't. So now I'm going to look for them.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Jeremy, what do you want to gush and go on about this week?
So I'm going to start. It's going to start a little unfortunate, but it's going to get better. So tour fees really suck. I think we can all agree with that. Well, I mean, we're seeing tour fees over $5,000 for most world-class corps.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of money. There are over 20 different scholarships, over $85,000 worth of scholarships that are available right now for people to sign up for, get ready for, and all you have to do is go over to dci.org/scholarships. They've got them all listed. A whole bunch of them are coming due in just a couple of weeks. March 15th is when that first deadline's coming up, but there's a whole lot of cash out there to help pay for some tour fees.
Yeah, that's incredible news. I'm so happy that you shared that. So for anyone in our listening audience that's marching, go apply. At least try, because I didn't try for any while I was marching, and in hindsight, something like that would have been so helpful. Nicole, what do you want to gush and go on about?
I have been doing nothing but seeing a bunch of shows, but I didn't go to a regional this weekend. However, I broke my own cardinal rule by saying that I wouldn't watch anything on YouTube.
Oh,
I'm so glad that I did. Okay. Tampa Independent. And I watched them from the side, y'all. I didn't even see the full show. I was watching them from the right, looking at the floor, side B, side 2.
Okay.
That's all I could see was side 2. And I'm just like, I was blown away by that. And you would have thought someone threw $100 at me because their props moved. And I was like, oh my God, they moved. Because
you're right.
I was generally affected. And how the 50 people on the floor is mind-blowing. It's so many people, y'all.
It really is.
Those kids, those performance ensembles cannot fit in a gym. Anything that they're doing, like I will give all kinds of hats to those judges that are judging those world-class guards of 50 in a gym, in a regular gym, because that's hard. Yeah. You are going to miss something in your periphery because you can't get it all in.
True.
I mean, in a good way, my mind is being blown on the way of thinking, man, what is this judge going to say about this group? You know? And then I've watched every show 3 times, mind you, because I watched it with my, DA lens on. And then I watched it as a 7-year-old girl. And then I was just like, okay, I just want to see it again. I'm surprised I think surprised is good. I'm pleasantly surprised by some groups, and I love what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about percussion stuff too. That was actually kind of leads me right towards where I was going to go.
I did see something. I only have one percussion group that I love.
Which
Two.
is?
Broken City.
Okay, valid.
Always loved Broken City, and I saw a video of them. And Monarch. Because I moved with them. But
sure. I actually haven't seen either of those shows yet, but I know that I really always love the way that Broken City is like so musical and lyrical with the way that they write their beats and all. We were actually like talking about them a bunch on our it's funny, Jeremy just put in our chat. Yeah, I would have preferred if you had said United or Rhythm X. But
yeah, I love that too.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We do love Monarch. It's okay. But yeah, no, we were just talking about that. We just did a percussion recap, which was what my Gush and Go was going to be about this week. And we got to talk all about like Broken City, RCC. RCC has such a cool show, which we got to hear a little bit about in the percussion recap as well. And, you know, there's just not always a ton of percussion stuff going on around here. We really like a lot of color guard. So for anyone out there who's a bit of a percussion head like myself, you should go check out the percussion recap that we just uploaded. I had a ton of fun with it, and I think you'll enjoy it as well.
Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Okay, everyone, back out onto the field because I am back on the sidelines later with Nancy Burns from Marching Health. So make sure you all have your proper marching shoes on or else. Oh, well, not a typo. Missed correction. Oh, we're still recording. Okay. Okay, everyone, back out onto the field because I am back. What? I thought we just changed it. Jackie and Trevor, right? Okay. I thought you said that you were. All right. Okay, everyone, back out onto the field because Jackie and Trevor are back on the sidelines later with Nancy Burns from Marching Health. So make sure you all have your proper marching shoes on or else.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, and here are your announcements coming from the box. You want to drink up on a water break Lost in Translation with Cynthia Bernard, uncover the glitz and glamour of Twirlers with On a Water Break in Rhinestones hosted by Lexi Duda, get the insider scoop from the stands with On a Water Break from the stands with Cindy Berry, aka Leander Mama, and join the band family in On a Water Break family style with Stephanie Click, plus much more to come. Make sure to follow us on social media at On a Water Break for all the latest updates and bonus content. Got something to share or a burning question? Email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com. So don't be the person that doesn't tell their friends about a water break. Make sure everyone stays hydrated. Okay, field staff, take it away.
Let's reset.
Guys, grab your water bottles. We are back on the sidelines. Trevor and I are here, and we're going to be talking to Nancy Burns from Marching Health. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, happy to be here.
Hey, Nancy.
I'm so excited to have you. And you and Trevor know each other already, right? Where did you guys work together before?
So we were at the University of Alabama together. I was the athletic trainer for the band at the time, and Trevor was doing his graduate work. And so we just kicked it off, and it kind of became a mutual relationship between what could I do for his band, and then he would teach me a lot about marching band as well. So thrilled to see him again.
Yeah, this is a full circle moment. When I saw that we were interviewing Nancy, I'm like, I got to get in there. It's been several years since we've connected, and it's just so great to see you, and it's so great to see the success of Marching Health that we'll be talking about here in a second.
Oh, for sure. I'm so excited because I connected with Dr. Cleveland from Marching Health, like in 2019. And so like, we'll get into all that though. I'm just excited to have you here. I'm excited about Marching Health. I'm excited about you. We met at Macy's this year. And so like, it's just been a blast. But one of the things that we do with our new guest clinicians on our water break is something called a 32 count life story. So basically, Nancy, we want to know everything that has ever happened to you from the day you were born until now in detail, but you only have 32 counts to tell it. So
all right,
I'm going to give you a Dr. Beat to keep track. So
sure.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, you get 8 off the Met.
Here we go.
Okay, so Dr. Nancy Burns, I am a clarinet dropout from the 3rd grade, so I come by music honestly. In that regard, I did play a butterfly in my 4th grade nativity play because everybody deserved a role, millennial. In my adult life, I got into marching when I was working on my graduate work at the University of Alabama. At the time, was a certified athletic trainer, still am, but worked primarily with mainstream sports. And so fell in love with marching and the people.
Yay!
Yeah.
No, you can keep going. You can keep going. It's good.
Yeah. No, just fell in love with the marching arts, really just with the people first. I had spent 15 years as an athletic trainer, and the marching population is just so special.
Mm-hmm.
Just both as human beings and their passion for the art, that it was just much more rewarding for me to work with that population than for, again, your traditional basketballs, footballs, soccers, etc.
Oh,
so
for
I have
sure.
dedicated my life to promote the art and to promote those who perform.
I wish we had video recording for this, because like the fact of like Trevor and I just both died laughing during that. That was great.
The clarinet dropout.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that little fact, but that's still.
Oh yeah.
I love it. So how did you get involved with Marching Health, and then like what exactly is, for our listeners who don't know, like what is Marching Health about? What's going on there?
Yeah, sure. So well, first and foremost, Marching Health is a all-inclusive health and wellness program for those within the marching arts, whether you are middle school, whether you are high school, whether you're college, DCI or DCA. We are here for you, both to not only promote you in your art and your success in that art, but also just to promote the health and wellness overall, which unfortunately is what has been lacking in the art and in the sport, is that it hasn't been emphasized enough in the history of it, in the culture of it. So we're here essentially to begin that culture change. Yes. So that is Marching Health. And I was, again, certified athletic trainer. I was working in a athletic training education program at the time, and it wasn't fulfilling. It didn't feel right. It wasn't really where and what I was meant to do. And so absolutely by happenstance, made a career change, worked for a pretty prominent physical therapy company, and met Elliot through word of mouth within that company, because he had reached out to the company to try to partner with that company in order to get these programs, right? To get the word out about Marching Health. And people knew my passion about it, and we connected. The next thing I know, I am moonlighting for Marching Health on top of my other jobs. Realized that I had to make a decision, right, between the traditional side of things and then to go with performing arts medicine, and jumped on board to go all in.
You're really all into. Oh my gosh.
And it's so weird that I just want to bring up this little conversation I remember having. That I remember sitting in, I can't remember if it was the fall of 2016 or fall of 2017, but we were sitting in the lobby Nancy's like treating like some of the band students, kind of giving them the care that they need, treating like injuries or soreness or whatever, giving them advice, suggestions, taping people up. And I'm like, hey, why do you do this? What motivates you to do this? She's like, I really want to do this eventually, like this off branch. I want to travel. I want to go and like help like all these college marching bands, like do their thing and make sure that their health and safe is safe and productive, and they know like how their body works and they know how to take care of themselves. And that's something I'm going to do like one day, and it's going to be great. And people are going to be informed. I'm like, that's wonderful. She's always so high spirited and like bubbly and amazing and just a joy to be around. I'm like, man, she knows what she wants. She's gonna be awesome. Like, and now here we sit, like it's like full throttle. She's spoken into existence, and now you have the great Dr. Nancy Burns in front of us, helping the martial arts world, have a better understanding of their bodies and how to make sure that we can do the thing that we love to do with the marching arts. So I just wanted to like bring up that little story.
Thank you, Trevor.
I love that so much, especially as somebody who I didn't get to march my age out year of drum corps because I broke my shoulder. And it was a drum corps injury. Like it was an injury that had happened like long before that. And, if I had maybe the knowledge that you're bringing to these kids, I might have known better how to like heal from that injury over time and then be able to go in and complete my age out season journey. But so tell us a little bit about Marching Health and some of the programs and some of the stuff that you guys offer, because I know you work with so many programs.
We do.
Yeah. Can just anybody call you up?
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously our information is on our website, marchinghealth.com. For anybody who wants to investigate more about bringing us to their program, like I said earlier, we are really trying to be on the forefront of the health and wellness culture train, for the marching arts. And part of that is being prepared physically for the art. Some of that is not only preparing, the students and the performers, but also preparing the staff and the band directors, because any culture change has to start from the top. And so we want to be there for all levels of a program, of an organization. So right now, if you are somebody who wants to, be physically better, right? Who wants to get through a practice, who wants to get through a performance without feeling winded, without feeling like they couldn't give their all because they couldn't take that final deep breath, right? Like right at the end when you're doing your biggest notes. We have programs for you. We have several types of programs available. We have a back to band workout that is actually free for anybody who goes online and downloads it. We have a couch to corpse workout. We also have a podium to 5K workout. So one is built for the performers, and then one is built more towards, the directors, the staff, to kind of get back into it, because we want everybody involved, right? To want to be better physically, mentally, emotionally, right, for the art. And then we do go into individualized programs. So whether you are a winter guard program, winter percussion, obviously your traditional marchers in high school, middle school, college, we have dedicated specialized workouts for those individual programs. And when we come into a program, we are not a one and done operation. We are there for you throughout the entire process. So ideally we get brought in early in the season before preseason.
Yeah, like before marching basics.
Training. Yeah. Or before spring training, etc. We come in, we start first, like I said, we start from the top. So we actually really focus on training and educating the peer leaders within those programs, whether they're the section leaders or whether they're the drum majors, to be able to deliver the program to their peers. This is a student-run program, and it is designed that way, again, to begin teaching them, and so that they can have the skills to teach others to go beyond. Their current position. So we're there with them. A month later, we'll come back in, we'll come back in virtually, and and do the next phase of the program. Same thing. We focus on the peer leaders, and then we come in the third time, do the third part of the program, focus on the peer leaders. But we are there throughout the entire process. So if there's a visual that you have added to your drill that the students are struggling with, you can call us at any time between that engagement, and we will modify the program to meet the needs of the visual.
Nice. So like strengthening the right muscles and getting the right alignment and making sure that everything works for that.
To bend is backwards, right? As some flourishes will ask their students to do.
Yeah, we're kind of living proof here at Western Carolina University. I think we've been using Marching Health since fall of 21 is when we had Elliot come in for the first time, Elliot Cleveland come in for the first time. And what Nancy just laid out is perfect. Like it really is the really great breakdown of that initial meeting, teaching the leadership, that mid review check-in, and that kind of post check-in, but they just have an open door policy. Hey, email me this. Send a video of your band doing this. Hey, we're trying to do this crazy thing on the field that we didn't know we were going to try to do, like in August, but now we want to do it. And they send back information. Be mindful of 1, 2, and 3. And this is and these are exercises out of like the program that will help making sure that they have the core strength or the lower leg strength or the ankle strength to be able to complete those activities or those visuals that the band is hoping to achieve at a high level. It is such a great tool. It's easy as directors who are like in their 40s or in their 50s, like just to say like, oh, they're young, they're 19, they're 20, they'll just figure it out and they'll just keep themselves like safe. It's so easy just to say that. But now the program provides the directors with the information of knowing, no, we got to care about the people who are producing the product as much as we do about the product itself. We got to care about the people. And this program allows you to care about the people, physically, emotional, mentally, to do the things you need them to do. And yeah, Nancy, it's a perfect explanation. I can attest to it. So I just want to jump in and say that.
Thank you. And we are growing as a company. We are trying to do more with school districts to try to make it more accessible. Because we know that not every school has the resources, maybe to bring us in individually. We are doing a lot more with DCI drum corps as far as preparing their individuals, their performers for the physicality that is DCI. Marching is hard. It is even tactical at some points, but we know that they are the elite, right, of our marchers. And so we want to make sure that they can get through the entire season. So, stay tuned, stick around, like and subscribe. There will be more from us in the coming years.
You guys have an awesome social media presence too. So if people follow at Marching Health, it's at Marching Health Official, right?
Correct. That is the tag.
So go find that and on social media. And like, I have to say, like, we use the Winter Guard program, not like there was an online one because Elliot and I met in 2019. So for our 2020 season, we used the Winter Guard program and it completely changed how we did guard. And to this day, I'm like, why did the 2020 season have to get canceled? Like there was so much we were going, and seriously, I don't know that we've made those kind of physical improvements every single week like we did in that 2020 season, because we're talking, we had people who were struggling to catch quads, and then we would send them home with like, okay, here's your workouts for the week that you're going to work on these specific, upper back and shoulder muscles, chest muscles to like help with catching quads. And they would come back and be able to nail everything. And, we were doing like drill changes and we were doing things we had never attempted before. And it just completely changed everything when we implemented that. And, I know a lot of people especially in indoor, because we have such limited time with our performers on the weekends, they're like, oh, we just don't have time to implement it. We don't have time. But like when you implement the workouts, like Marching Health, like the Marching Health program, it actually makes other things go way faster. Wow. So you end up making more time.
For practice and rehearsal and more, you have less holes, right?
Yes.
Because everybody can perform the drill. So they are on the field.
Yeah, definitely. Like having everybody like in one piece and not, sitting on the sidelines just with ice and just staring off into the abyss is like having something that you can do versus just sitting there.
Yeah.
If you are like at risk for injury or something. So, okay. Here's a huge one we've been getting so many questions on, and seriously, like just fielding so much stuff for On a Water Break. This topic keeps coming up over and over because there is a huge change coming to DCI this summer, which I'm sure you've probably heard about, in that they are absorbing with DCA. They're creating the all age class. Finals is going to be at DCI finals and all this. There's a lot of people now who are considering getting back into drum corps where they haven't done anything since they were in their early 20s. And they might be, maybe they just aged out. Maybe they're in their 30s. Maybe they're in their 40s. Maybe they're older than that. What are they going to need to do to prepare? Where should they start? Should they go to the Marching Health website? Where should they go? What should they do?
As previously stated, we do have a free back to band workout that anybody who is marching curious, who is exercise curious, right?
Love can go that. On. Marching curious.
That's awesome.
Who can go on and download and start. It's all the directions are there. All the exercises are there. We even have companion videos in case there's one that maybe doesn't make sense. Then you can go on, you can watch the video and have an understanding of what the expectations are. I will say that, and this is the healthcare provider in me, is music is for everyone, but marching necessarily isn't. And that is because even though, marching and art in general is very fulfilling for the soul, it's very fulfilling, just as a person and like the accomplishment of it. But it is very hard on the joints, right? It is very hard on the muscles. And so if you are somebody who has maybe, chronic discomforts in the backs or in the knees, or you've had previous injuries or you've had surgeries, would highly, highly recommend that you do get cleared by a physician before you start this type of physical activity. And that's just for your own protection, right? To make sure that you are as healthy as you can be before you start tossing, before you start playing, before you start counting off and running at 180 beats per minute. So that is the PSA in all of this, is to make sure that you are healthy enough to start first and then self-evaluate, right, before you get into the art again.
One of the reasons why I think that this program is so essential, especially for like those high schools and colleges, marching units and winter guards, is because of imitation, right? We look at programs like DCI programs like, the Blue Devils or, Crown or Blue Coats or something like that. And we, as directors, want our designers to design shows like that, to be like all amazing. We want the props, we want the instruments, we want the electronics, but we also want the visual. We also want the visual demand. We want to look like them. We want to flip and turn and twist and be able to run across the field. And we want our designers to design that. So we're asking so much more of the young performers than they did even, 10 years ago. And so like having a program like this, I believe, Nancy, helps set the programs up to be able to achieve those goals. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I stated earlier, all of the programs are specialized, right, for the individual levels. And then we take feedback all the time, either before we come in and implement a program, while we are implementing a program, and certainly after, in order to make sure that the workouts and the mobility work and the balance work match what the visual staff has in mind. Or if there is something that is unique, let's say, to that marching style. So Trevor, I'm going to borrow you here for a moment. But I know that the blue Devils use more of a bent knee march than, say, Crown, who uses more of a straight knee march. And so there are different muscles at work there. The stresses on the joints are very different there. So we would not give cookie cutter programs to those individual schools, or not schools, but programs, right? We would design it in order to make sure that the athletes who are performing, their joints are safe while they are doing those individual marching styles. And, you know, and if DCA, you know, wants to reach out to us for their population, for their older population, then we would modify again and make sure that everybody's as healthy as they can be to perform at a level that they want to perform at, and to do their best.
It makes complete sense. You know, as a director or as a member participating in a type of unit like that, having that kind of flexibility and that, you know, it makes you feel valued as a director who's investing in, you know, a product like Marching Health, or as a performer, you know, it's like, oh, okay, like they're really trying to make sure that I can perform at the highest level by giving me these tools for my toolbox. So, like, yeah, it checks all the boxes for me. I'm really glad that you said that it's not like a cookie cutter or like one glove fits all sizes. So that's cool.
And if you are somebody that wants to get back into it for one of those all-age cores, I would highly encourage you to start now, right? Put your instrument in your hand, put your flag back in your hand, put your weapon back in your hand, because, you know, you have to prepare for marching. You can't wait to march to get into marching shape, right? You have to get in shape before you start marching.
You're so right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just a couple years ago.
And that is the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing, because it is the culture. It is common. If we use high schools and college programs as the example, and Trevor, please chime in, because I'm sure you've seen this with your students, where once the season is done, then they are done. They might still play if they're trying to attain their degree, but for the most part, they're not engaging in any sort of meaningful physical activity. And then they come in after a summer of, and I'm going to be a little rude here, but like sitting on the couch, right? Or staying indoors, which is really half the battle, right? Is those environmental illnesses that can occur. And then they start marching. And what we have seen in the literature and the research is that the majority of the injuries that happen with our marching artists are in that first month of when they have returned, because their bodies just are not used to it. And it's really interesting, because there was a wonderful article that came out of the University of Michigan. This is years ago. It was one of the landmark studies for marching. And it showed the progression of how the injuries got better over the course of the season. Demonstrating the point that you have to be in shape before you start marching.
I wish someone had told me that when I was like 18. Like, seriously. Like, can I go back and tell young Jackie that? However, I will say I am going to be doing the Blue Stars Alumni Corps this summer.
Oh, here we go.
So, you know, look for me out there in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Just one performance, but I am like you're saying, like, we need to start working now on this. January 1st, I started on it, and I have been keeping up with my new program to get back in shape for this, and like for people to understand this is a serious thing. We have one performance, and it's not, you know, it's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be at the La Crosse, the Blue Stars home show, but I'm not planning on going on tour or anything like that. And so these people who are talking about jumping back into the DCI all age corps now, you really need to be on it and get on that workout plan, start getting yourself back into that shape, get outside. It's cold right now though. Maybe don't go outside in the ice.
So some of us are in our warmer states, which is not necessarily a problem, you know, but there are ways to, you know, turn the heat up in your house or whatever, and just start doing calisthenics, and you can go more humid environments. Yep.
I wish I would have done that a couple years ago. People asked me, "Come on, let's do like the Troopers Drum Corps, like Legacy Corps. Let's go march in Boston, like when it's like 35 degrees, like in November." I'm like, okay, thinking I can still have like one more in me, and I got there, did the thing. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would have prepared more for this. My body feels awful watching that parade. I was cold. My muscles were sore, holding up my big old baritone euphonium was much harder than what I thought it was going to be. So I wish I would have had a little bit more preparation, and the engagement of all these DCI all age corps. That's big pickup and momentum for more people to get involved and to stay involved, and talk to your administrators of those groups and let them know that this will be a great investment. Like marching health will be a great investment in preparing you for a successful performance, whether you're marching a parade or doing some standstill performance, or you're the exhibition corps at DCI finals that people are going to jump up and down for. Whatever it is, this is the program for your group, in my honest opinion.
And Nancy's super fun too.
Nancy's the best. Nancy is also bonus information. Nancy is also a huge wrestling fan.
I didn't know that.
My husband and I, we do very much enjoy wrestling entertainment.
Yes,
we do.
So did Trevor. That's how we connected.
It is exactly how we connected.
We love wrestling.
You never know what you're going to have in common with somebody. I love that so much. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for coming on our water break. It's been a pleasure having you, and let's definitely keep in touch, because I mean, this is a never ending thing, and there's always new research coming out, and it's so important. It's so important. It's one of our foundational things. So thank you for coming.
Of course.
Thanks, friend. Take care.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Grab your water bottles and let's get back out on the floor. We've got like 3 more reps to do before rehearsal's over.
Hey, this is Christine Ream
and Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
Thank you, Jackie and Trevor, for that great interview. It's kind of crazy to see how much that DCI and drum corps is becoming really professional in the way that we coach and train students to be more athletic and really just try to be smart about every aspect of the activity. I feel like I could remember it coming on as I started marching, but nowadays most of these groups are really treating all the students the same way that a sports team would for the most part. Which,
I really wish we had that stuff around when I was coming up in the activity.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't even know if I had any before season prep work as far as marching band is concerned. I know I would cut out something before Winter Guard would start because I marched Patriots. And I was like, what should I cut out? All right. So no more soda for the season. And what else? Food. Okay. I cut out ice cream, and then literally was everything else is up for grabs. That is the most,
sounds
training.
like me. I can think back to just some really horrible decision making during my marching days. I feel like anytime your morning starts with 5 hours of sleep and a monster energy, and then you go to
That's
block.
what I was gonna say. Sleep. We were so bad with sleep, but now it's the mandatory hours in the summer, and kids, you need to sleep. You need to drink water and sleep, and then follow everything else. And I think it's the Trish and the Nicole and the I, and then the you, Stephen, that is now hurt forever. That kind of brought that you know what I mean? Like, I know people that cannot walk at 42 properly. Like, it's not what we
Right.
want for the marching kids that are right now. And I think I was like, we're not going to point to ourselves. But like, I have a funny lip. But yeah, and I think that now that maybe we're on staff and that we're directors and that we've gone through that, we are kind of open. I talked to Litzia on Lost in Translation about that a little bit, how being a professional staff and being a professional member is also knowing your injury and knowing your knowledge towards injury, where it starts and where it ends. And as a director, maybe you are a doctor and good for you if you are, but like, I dye yarn. So if a kid comes hurt, I cannot treat that. I can dye their shirt, but I cannot treat a injury. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like back to my early days in the activity too, and think just so many stupid things that like instructors would make us do, like just like intense PT that is not really tailored towards necessarily anything that we're doing, like all these arm workouts that we used to do and stuff like that, and just like all these push-ups and burpees and all, and like maybe the cardio and the burpees is fine, but like really why do we need to break my arms as a drummer? Isn't that like the one important thing that we should maybe take care of is my arms? You would think. So it's good to see that groups like Marching Health, groups like Forte Athletics are out there, and we're starting to really treat the performers like the athletes they are. So thank you for coming on the show. Anyway, though, we're moving on here. We're going to start with a new bit that it's quickly becoming one of my favorite bits on the show, actually. We're calling it What Are We Doing? Which is a chance for you to kind of... Is that Trish?
Like, not this again.
I was like, and if you've been around Trish in the summer, pretty sure I heard you say that before.
I'm sure.
Well, why don't you kick it off then, Trish? You can show Cynthia and Jeremy how the bit works.
All right. So at the Philadelphia Regional in prelims, there was a group that one of the performers got injured during the performance. And we all saw it right away. We're all like, she's hurt, she's hurt, she's hurt. She got herself over to the sideline and she sat down and she kept grabbing her wrist and grabbing her wrist and grabbing her wrist. Now, I mean, I immediately put my director hat on from the stands and started thinking, what would I do? Like, what am I doing? What would I do if that was my kid? If that was my kid out there, like, what do you do? Do you run out there? Do you stop the show? She clearly, Jeremy even noted this, like, she clearly kind of gave the signal, like, I can sit here the rest of the show. Like, I don't need medical attention immediately. But honestly, like, as a director, what do you do? Like, what do you do if a kid gets injured like that? I mean, do you, again, like I said before, do you stop the show? Do you run out there? Are you allowed to walk on the floor? Just get her off the floor. She was on the sideline. She made her way to the sideline. But I mean, I tried to catch up with the timing and penalties guy, Jeff Kowinski, during, I tried to catch up with him, but every time I was kind of walking in or out of the gym, he was kind of looking at his clipboard or whatever. But I was going to ask him, like, if that was my kid, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Do I stop? What do I do? Do I let the kid sit there for, another 2.5 minutes injured? Like, it was really tough. And she looked like she was, like Jeremy said, she kind of gave the signal, like, I can sit here, I'm good. But if it was worse than that, what do you do? What exactly? Like,
that's kind of what I was thinking, is maybe it's depending on the injury. Like, if the student gets off the floor, then you might not need to stop the show, but you maybe should, as the director, still go to the student and stop watching the show.
But have you ever seen a show stopped because of an injury? I don't remember once, and I remember injuries, like bad injuries happening on the floor.
Even this season, I was at a show where one of the performers' knees got dislocated, but they had, and she went down hard too. And they had backdrops. So that girl, like, she just took herself backdrop and she stayed there because it happened at the beginning of the show.
Oh God.
Yeah. And she just stayed back there, and, they went through the rest of their show. They folded everything and then they attended to her. But that's not, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
Well, it was interesting. I'll jump in again. It was interesting. And we all did talk about it. It was me, it was Trish, Michelle Adcock, who's been on the show. You all know Bobby Biddle. Like there was, seasoned people. And all of us were sort of like, well, I don't know. So what came out of that discussion was, first off, Trish was going to do this as What Are We Doing on the podcast, but you as a director should have a conversation with your entirety of your membership, right? And this is across every board, like marching band, drumline, color guard, whatever, that it's a very simple signal that you let them know. All right, listen, I want everybody to know I will always be standing here. Like I will always be near the sound booth, or there will always be a designated person by the sound booth for you to look at. You look at that person. If you are injured, you are to communicate yes, I'm good, give them some sort of signal or whatever, a hand gesture or something to be like, I'm good, keep going. Right. Or no, this is serious, because when she hurt her hand, we were like, she looked fine. There's no blood. It's okay. But she was looking like it was a lot. So you didn't know. And it just came to be that maybe the thing that makes the most sense is to have the conversation, know that the performers have a plan. Okay. If this happens, right. And just fulfill that plan. Now, if that means from an adjudication standpoint, I don't know what that means. When that person leaves, I'm sure it's been addressed. I'm sure there's a WGI rule about it somewhere or something. But, getting that member off, I don't know. But I think bottom line, have a conversation with your kids, have a signal, have something so that your performers even know to keep going. You know what I mean? If somebody's down, just keep that in mind and make sure you have a plan. Just like everything else in color guard, marching band, and drumline, have a plan and you'll be fine. Okay, back to you.
Yeah, no, it's good thinking. I thought you were going to say just like everything else in life, talk about it and be prepared and have a plan. It's just the responsible way to handle your ensemble when you put it that way. I was not going to come up with it on my own, though, so I don't know what that says about me. Anyway, though, Cynthia, what do you got for What Are We Doing this week?
I hope I understood well, but so winter guard person in the house, went to Salem Regional, and two things, not the biggest regional, right? Two things. One, are we going to hit 125 score at a world class? Because to be real, I don't know if it happens to you in percussion land, but
it happened.
Yeah,
it happened this last weekend.
I don't know if it's because I mean, we keep on saying it's such a short regional season. It's not 2 weeks short, but it's a week or 2 weeks shorter than it's been. So I think groups that are seasoned have been really smart and showed up to the first regional ready for March. But then what happens now is that I'm gonna say it, Blessed Sacrament right now is in my top 3 of all time show, and I'm a show geek whatsoever. And I was gonna do a What Are We Doing about being a snob on genre. If it's not your genre, maybe, but you need to be able to see that show, and that's good. I was feeling like I was seeing Bethlehem finals, if not championship prelims, that performance and prelims especially. So I'm there's no supra world. They cannot be bumped to world. What's gonna happen? In that world class 15 group is already very tight. There's no room for newbies.
Well, that's kind of where I was about to head. So it's deserving that the group I'm about to talk about won, but so Pulse Percussion got a 92.4 at their first performance.
Oh my god!
What class are they in?
They've won world class percussion the last 2 years, but they got a 92.4 at their first performance last weekend, which is just insane. And I like the logical reason it's happening is because in California you have 6 other world-class groups competing against Pulse at that regional. So in February, the group that's going to come in 6th is going to be extremely remarkably dirtier. Not to knock whatever group it was, but they're not Pulse. Pulse
Yeah.
does something very special, and they're their own thing that they can be so clean that early. So all these groups are going to have large spreads, and it's going to create this like stratification within world class that forces these scores to be so high and so inflated. Like, I bet even the people at Pulse probably would agree that they didn't get, or well, they certainly got a 92.4. They might themselves not think that that's even that realistic of a score in February. I
Yeah,
feel like
that's a
at some
lot.
point you need actually that galactic class that we always joke about, because these groups
Okay.
should only compete with each other so that it would be okay to give Pulse the 86 that Pulse deserves. You can give Broken City an 84, and now we're adjudicating them in a space that's not just crunching all their scores to the top because they have to compete with the rest of world class.
I love that we have, already named that next class, like, because I was thinking universe class, you're like galactic class. I'm like, they're gonna be superheroes, like how we, first show, we're gonna break 90. And you do it. I was about to cuss. But anyway. I mean, and I've been part of a group that came out to their first regional before, and like the number was up there, and we just looked at each other like,
yeah.
Excuse me?
Mhm.
Was that
Yeah,
the
you
right
have
number?
to look back at the kids and say, like, okay, that didn't happen. Let's go back to rehearsing like how we usually do. I don't want you.
Let me go back though, because Blessed Sacrament didn't get the score that about everyone thought they deserved. Judges got very, very didn't put them in box 5 yet at that regional, or some of them at finals, because they were careful. I don't know. I'm saying they were I know what they were thinking, but my thinking is because they, to me, were already box 5, and it's also playing with the standing. I don't know if people looked at the standing, and I don't know if in percussion in the world that happens, but standing right now, I mean, you should never really, really base your life on standing.
Right.
But South and East groups are, it's just people that are in the same gym and judge Blessed Sacrament was with Fusion. Fusion is really, really good also, but are they that close, or should they be closer, and then Amp? And it's so hard because they're all too ready for the first show. Not too ready, but it's.
That's why I think percussion illustrates the idea so well. It's like California is the only place where you'll have multiple world-class groups competing against each other before finals. So everywhere else, a group goes out and at best they compete against one world-class group. There's nothing that's going to force you to go high. A judge is just going to sit there and he'll make his or her decision about what number they think represents what they're seeing. But in other parts of the country where there are more world-class ensembles, the groups are going to get pushed up by the nature that they have to create gaps between the groups.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like it just validates that you really can't and should not compare groups across competition, because it's just not, that's not what we're doing. We're only comparing groups directly. Yeah.
Pageantry.
That was interesting. That's why I love this bit so much. This bit always pulls out fantastic conversations. Jeremy, do you got anything for what are we doing?
I'm going to kind of double down on our discussion earlier about the marching health and treating the performers a little bit higher up. Staff members, we have to make sure we have a culture that allows students to be in that vulnerable state, to be able to say, hey, I'm injured, and they're not going to be worried about losing their spot or being kicked out of the group or anything.
Yes.
We need to make sure it's obviously it's accepted. They should be able to be doing that regardless, but we need to make sure that culture exists in the activity. We're starting to push towards that, we've been talking about all night, but we got to get to that point. We're not quite at that box 5 yet, but we're getting there.
It's hard because then, especially in the summer, you have, how do you call them? The people that are on the sideline and wish to have a spot by the end of the alternates. There we go. Thank you. Alternates. And they are sometimes by some groups, I hope more when we were marching, as you're getting shadowed because you need to step it up. And that's a thing, using those alternates as a fear of losing your spot or not saying that you're injured. But then when you go to really high classes or groups like Boston, like if you're hurt, you're gonna like a color guard world. I don't know the rest, but they're not gonna give your spot to someone else. They're gonna wait the time for your injury to be okay, unless it values your season. It happened to Lizzie Part of Cincinnati. She got a concussion, didn't do 2 shows, didn't get cut. She's like it's so why do we in younger groups worry that much? It's not. You're right. You're so right.
Especially younger groups. Some of these performers are literal children, and like they're still like entirely autonomous individual people on their own, but we still need to take care of them. Children are so they're treated so badly in our society.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I
that's
mean,
the thing too.
I think we all can like go back to a time when we all got injured in some way. Basically, if the younger generation is listening to this, we are just trying to make sure that you can walk upright when you're 40.
Yep.
That cheering, that's your knees.
Yeah.
Your knees thanking you.
I wish that I had someone like Nicole around when I was marching, because I feel like I caught the very tail end as a bass drummer of just absolutely abusing my body and not
Were you
taking
bass
care of it.
5?
No, I played bass 2 and 1, so
Okay.
usually it wasn't too heavy, but still, it's like
Still.
I'm really just finding reasons to complain, Cynthia. It's okay.
I was gonna say we're gonna do a TikTok and we're gonna go by age. Just look at people how they
It's
walk, and
funny,
you
though,
should
like,
walk straighter.
I
Than
walk
me.
straight, but I'm starting to notice back pain sometimes, and it scares me because I'm like, I'm 26. This is how it starts. It's like,
Yeah.
to find myself at 40, I'll probably be like,
You don't stand up. You just
or
sit.
or when you stand up, you give the like.
They're giving you the sweats right now. Yep.
Nicole, what are we doing?
What are we doing? I'm trying not to implicate myself when I talk about this too much, but Okay, so what are we doing when we're bringing back the, I guess, the GE effects from the 90s?
Yeah.
Hey, they're classics, okay?
Oh my God, you're so right.
But okay, were they? I mean, at that time when that effect was being made, we were all like, yeah. And now it's like, oh, whoops. Did you mean to do? You did. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Not sure how that's going to stand out or stand up, because a lot of those, some people that are taking some making very interesting choices, they're doing those kind of things, like the silence, the breath, like the audible breath for more than like a phrase. And y'all, can we stop the whole like crying? Like, don't make yourself cry. Like, it's so uncomfortable. And I think I've talked about this before, but I feel like people aren't listening. So please don't make your kids cry. Okay. Just teach them what a face looks like when you get ready to sneeze, and there's all of the emotion that you need.
But are you saying like cry, like legit tears, or like?
Yeah, like an audible.
Well, then we're gonna get in a fight, Nicole, because that's what I said to my kid this weekend. You need to cry, but like, no, we're not gonna get in a fight. But it's interesting that we're on the opposite side. Like, for me, it's uncomfortable when it looks like my 6-year-old that wants a lollipop, and I said no, and she's like forcing herself to cry. Like when they're legit acting it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it kind of doesn't even correlate with the show, and I'm like, "Why are you a chicken that is crying?" Like that is, and I'm saying that, and I haven't seen that, but like sometimes it gets all the way there because they.
Yeah.
But when the members are living the moment as far as going through the emotion, that for me is like some sort of the epiphany of performing. I remember the year that Lazy Clips did Goodbye. They cried every rehearsal, but it was like for 2 hours, you're living through the moment, and maybe you will cry, and not the entire rehearsal, or else trauma would happen.
That's
Right.
So like there's like
oh my God.
mature performing and just like telling your kids to cry, maybe.
Yeah. And I'm mostly grabbing this from the lower classes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I
Okay.
just don't, you know what I'm saying? I just don't feel like it's not on the sheet. They don't need to know that right now. They don't, you know?
You're right.
And honestly, if they are that young and they're doing a show that's about them crying,
Yeah.
we need to talk to somebody else, like the adult.
Yeah. We should have a full clip about Regional A, because I was like, when you start to look and judge at Regional A, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting class. It's almost more interesting than world class as a analytic person. Like world class is world class, but like Regional A is really interesting as like, what's that class? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah. I felt like it was actually
like we could do this. Like we could really go down this rabbit hole because from state to state, there are different states whose regional A classes are not regional A. Like blinking lights, not regional A.
Mm-hmm.
But hey.
Yep.
Well, regional A in the percussion world is definitely, worthy of a conversation. I remember when I was like very briefly getting into like judging for a little while last year, I actually felt like it was significantly more difficult to have to like evaluate and offer commentary for, like that end of the spectrum than it was for the best groups. Even if I was splitting hairs between which of the two groups was the best, it was still like there's a really well established like vocabulary to go through and look for here, whereas sometimes when you're looking at the other end of that spectrum, it asks more of you as a judge or an educator to like figure out what you can say to help this group.
And we're not saying this to be like mean to new designers, because regional A exists for that, but that's exactly why there needs to be a conversation, because when you're starting to design, you want to show people that you can write an open class show, but you need to write it, so like it's not to read anyone, it's just it is an interesting conversation.
Well, we will definitely get into that on another night. For now, let's get into the news. That's like my favorite 10 seconds of the show every week. I love that. Nicole, I think you've got the first story for us.
Okay, so I think you all know about this. The band members that were in the New Orleans parade from LB Landry that was pushed by the New Orleans police officer during the parade. And the friend that basically told him, no, bro, don't do it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that video went viral. And basically what happened after that is that I want to say on Monday, the student who was pushed and his friend that was seen on the video calming him down, they were honored by their school for their ability to walk away from a situation before it escalated. Now, here's the whole thing. Big ups to them, because there's a whole plethora of factors that go into that too, and I'm just going to be very blatant, obvious, and blunt. They are two young black males, regardless if they have on marching band uniforms or not, and they're holding horns. Those are two black males, and then the officer is obviously not a non-black person. And when that push happened, it was, I don't know who has seen it and who hasn't seen it, but it, you know what I mean? Like anybody else, it would set somebody off. However, they basically went by the rule that every band member is in. You're in uniform, you act as if you are as if, So it was a huge thing for them to de-escalate. Now, here's the ironic, thing about it is they were de-escalating a situation with a police officer.
Right.
So, Mitchell said that it's great to see all these people come out to show their support for us and congratulating us. Hundreds of students packed into the auditorium at West Bank, along with the staff and teachers, just to say, job well done.
That's
I
cool.
think it was the local news station was the first to show the video. It was WDSU that showed Brandon Mitchell and his friend Jerome Marshall. Those were the two young men marching during the Thursday night parade during the carnival season. Mitchell said that his friend Marshall spoke words of encouragement to him that night so that situation didn't get worse. So basically was telling him, yo, man, please don't do it. It's okay. Turn around. And then the whole entire time through, like, being a hype man for him. Because, and here's another real reason of this, like, outside of marching band, like, if something like that happens to, again, a young Black man, like, there is something that happens in here. And not every time does that young Black man have a hype man. So this is so big for these two young men.
Mm-hmm.
For the fact that, there was this young man who was there who was experiencing this. And then there was this young man who was there with his friend to make sure that he, doesn't react.
Yeah, because that part is also, a testament to like growing character and stuff that marching band teaches too. Like having a friend that's going to actually just push you in like the healthy and responsible right direction rather than encouraging something like chaotic or,
Right.
Some friends, especially when you're like 14 to 18, they might think it's fun to push you to go do something crazy. So like, it's really just shows a testament to the responsibility of those students.
Right.
In a situation that they shouldn't have had to, be the bigger person or take the higher road. But great that marching band kind of it's at least an influence that helps bring these kind of good values. So that's great.
Yeah. So a couple more things. Both students are going to be attending Southern Texas University together in the fall. They both will be playing in the band. Yes.
Very nice.
As for the officer, his name is Alfred Russell. He was taken off parade duty and an investigation was opened. That's all we really know about that. He also recently was accused of payroll fraud. That is somebody else's trouble. Not ours.
I don't think I like this guy.
I mean, it could have been something else before that, but I don't like him. So one more thing that I think that would be awesome to Chief Ann Kirkpatrick of the New Orleans Police Department and the director of Public Integrity Bureau sat down with Mitchell and his mom and delivered a sincere apology. So I feel as if, yes, it was a negative situation, but man, like, this is the way we need to encourage not escalating. This is the way we need to encourage that so that we can keep it going. And I just find it ironic that it was the kids who were getting the police officers to de-escalate. So, good ending.
I completely agree. That's nice. Some of these stories that we do when we follow them over weeks at a time don't have good endings some of the time. So it's nice to see something positive when we're following it.
Absolutely.
Trish, what do you have for us this week?
So our very own New York Skyliners, I'm going to tell you right now, the New York Skyliners are entering this all-age thing with a bang. I think they've had a fantastic off-season. I don't know what their membership is like or any of that, but I think from a presence standpoint, I think they've been really smart in their social media presence and all aspects of it. They actually were on a local TV station, which, was really, really cool for them because they not only used it as a way to get the word out about the Corps and what they were doing, but there's a little link in the end of the story if anybody's interested in donating, and a link to their website. So they really played that smart. They really used it to their advantage. It was about, I'm sure it was just a regular, winter camp, but they termed it a boot camp. I guess that was a little bit more, another smart thing, a little bit more recognizable to people who don't know the activity. Exactly. So, the director kind of talked a little bit about, the social aspect of the activity. And, even though, there's a lot of blood and sweat, they have during rehearsals, there's a lot of camaraderie and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I give them an A+ for the off season. I don't know, again, I don't know how many people they have or what their, what their, whatever, but their show concept, the way they've been getting themselves out there, using that as an opportunity to not only promote the group, but, try to get some donations. A+ for the off season for the Skylers, as far as I'm concerned.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love hearing about groups actually like just try to break the mold a little bit. Like even
Yeah.
just calling it a boot camp instead of calling it a rehearsal weekend is just like something that it's like, okay, you're doing something to make this interesting to people that have never heard of you and might just come across this on the internet.
Yep.
Like I think the activity needs so many more versions of that where we just find ways to make it appealing to a normal person.
Yep.
So that's cool. Hopefully we hear some more stuff as we get closer and closer to DCI season. Jeremy, what do you got?
So this past weekend, we celebrated our Day of the Year in the Marching Arts, March 4th. And DCI got together, did a whole bunch of different things. They've got this activity book that they did with different coloring pages, different activities, like a Wordle sort of thing. Lots of fun. And on top of that, they released a whole bunch of information about auditions for this season, open spots. There's hundreds, literally hundreds of open spots right now across the 4 classes. I mean, if you're ages 22 to 80 or whatever, if you want to march all age, you want to be back in Lucas Oil on that field, now is your chance. Go march all age. It's going to be a great opportunity. You're going to have so much fun, and it's not every single second of your summer. So you'll actually still be able to do stuff. You won't have to commit 100% of yourself to just that. You'll have the opportunity to work a job and then on the weekends do all age. You'll have options.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm so excited about. Is just it opens up so many options because like I don't think with it being in Rochester in the past, like I love old traditional DCA culture, but it definitely opens the door to a lot more by putting finals in there in the big stadium that like is the biggest event for drum corps and push it all together and put it in a better place for everybody to get to instead of just, Bush and Bucks and Cabs and the traditional heroes of DCA.
I'm looking at this activity book and it's legit.
The activity card?
The activity book,
not one of those. It's not one of those AI put together half trying sort of things. It's a legit, real deal. An actual person put their brain on it. Actually wanted to do something fun for the activity.
I love it. I love it. My ADH brain is like, ooh, I want to do all of these.
Well, you can on March 4th, but our listeners should hope that they already heard about it.
Where can they find this book and all this information?
So you can go take a look, DCI on their website, dci.org. If you take a look at their news section, they've got an article March 4th on the Marching Music Day 2024 that they posted on February 28th. All right there, all the options, all the information. They've got stuff about auditions, open spots, the coloring book, which I'm probably going to spend the night messing around with, having fun with.
Nice. Well, get out there, check that out. I like that you mentioned it sounds like they got a human touch. DCI is out here. They're trying to make it cozy for you to enjoy your March 4th. So let's, I'll certainly get in there myself. Cynthia, what do you have this week?
Yeah, real quick. So for WGI participants, there's actually a survey that has been sent to your director. They are trying to find the demographics, big word for me, demographics of diversity of the performers. So you in the circuit. So you can talk to your director. They should have that available for you to fill out. It's important for the activity. But also you could win $100 credit in Pepware.
Awesome. Yeah. Get out there, hit that participant survey. Because I've seen Pepware stuff in the tent for years, and I've got Pepware stuff littering my closet. So clearly, this is some stuff that you need to get to. But thank you, everyone, for a great rehearsal this week. Thank you to our hosts, Trish, Cynthia, Nicole, Jackie, Trevor, and Jeremy from Drum Corps Today. Thank you to Nancy as well. You can find Nancy at Marching Health. And just in case anyone didn't know, we have our YouTube channel up now with several video interviews over there. You can go check them out. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube because there's a lot more video interviews coming soon. So go subscribe, write us a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break. Thank you for listening, and we will see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Bye, y'all.
Go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.